Imagine telling the Prophet, I don't got time. Literally, that's what he's saying. He must be our forefather. I swear, we must be from his generation. Ya Rasulullah, ansihni wa awjaz. Give me advice and make it concise. Now, that was very easy for the Prophet ﷺ, because he didn't have to say a single word. Just by being in his presence was enough to change your life. Hassan bin Thabit, he says, لو لم تكن له آية مبينة لكان منظره يأتيك بالخبر. Right? If he never said a single word and you just saw his beautiful face would tell you the entire story. That he's a prophet of Allah ﷺ, and he's Ashraf al-Makhluqat, and he's Sayyidul Alam. Everything you would know just by looking at him. Tufail bin Amr al-Dawsi radiyallahu anhu is told when he enters into Mecca, there is a crazy man in Mecca. Make sure you watch your eyes, you watch your ears. This man's spell is very powerful. So he says, I'm not sure, maybe something's going to come in my ear, I'll change my life. He put cotton swabs in his ears for 3 days. He lived in Mecca like this. On the 3rd day, he was doing tawaf of the Kaaba. And as he's doing tawaf of the Kaaba, he sees a man praying salah in front of the Kaaba. And it was the Prophet ﷺ. He asked, who is this man? He said, Dhak al-Majnoon. That's the crazy man that we were speaking about. The moment he saw him, he knew this is a Prophet of Allah. He comes to him and says, Ya Muhammad, ma indaka ya Muhammad. What do you have to offer? Long story short, the Prophet gives him da'wah, he accepts Islam, he goes back to his village, he gives da'wah for 1 year, comes back the next year with only one person with him. He tells the Prophet, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, Ya Rasulullah, ud'u alayhim. Make dua against my people, they never listen to me. The Prophet raised his hands, he says, Allahumma hdi daws wa'ti bihim. Oh Allah, give Islam and Hidayah to his entire village and bring them all to me in my life. And Ta'if he made dua, and the dua was maybe later they'll accept Islam. But in this dua he said, bring them to me in my life. When the Prophet migrated to Medina, this entire tribe came as Muslims. And you know that one person he brought with him, his name was Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, the one who narrated the most hadith from the Prophet ﷺ. You never know that one person, who can it be? Allama Iqbal rahmatullahi alayhi, I find this to be one of the most fascinating poems. I say Arabic poems all the time, so I'll say one in Farsi. He says, Tu ghani azhar du alam man faqir, roze mahshar uzr hai man pazir, gar tumi bini hisabam na guzir, az nigahe Mustafa pinha pagir. Now the Arabs are looking at me. I'll translate. That's how Desis feel. That's how Desis feel when he leads Taraweeh. We're like, oh, wish we knew what he was saying. Inshallah, may Allah make you understand the Quran one day. Say Ameen. I'll translate. Look, it's very easy. The words are very simple. Same as Arabic. Tu ghani azhar du alam man faqir. He's saying, oh Allah, you are ghani. You are ghani. Ya ayyuhan nasu antum al-fuqara ila Allah. Wallahu huwa al-ghani al-hamid. This is tafsir of that verse. Oh Allah, you're ghani. Ghani means independent. You don't need my sajda, you don't need my sadaqah, you don't need nothing from me. It does not increase in your greatness. And I am faqir. Faqir in Urdu means poor, but in Arabic means dependent, paralyzed. Alladhi faqra dhahruhu. A person whose spinal cord is broken, he's dependent. And that's what faqir means. Miskeen in Arabic means poor. I am 100% dependent on you for every breath I take. I can't do nothing without you. This is my reality. That's what Allah says, look at that baby and then look at that old person. Look at these two realities. فَلْيُنظُرُ الْإِنسَانُ مِمَّا خُلِقْ قُتِلَ الْإِنسَانُ مَا أَكْفَرَ مِنْ أَيِّ شَيْءٍ خَلَقْ. He says, look back at where you came from. Look at a 3-month-old baby. The moment you see this 3-month-old baby, wallahi, the first thing that comes to your mind is faqir. Can't move. ليس لك سن تفلق وليس لك ضرس تطحن وليس لك يد تبطش وليس لك رجل تمشي. He doesn't have teeth to chew, no strength in the jaws to bite. The feet don't have strength to walk. The hands don't have strength to grasp. You have to do all these things in the house to protect this child from hurting itself. Faqir. Allah then says, وَمَن نُعَمِّرْهُ نُنَكِّسُ فِي الْخَلْقِ. And the one we prolong their life, slowly tankisul khalq. Their features and characteristics start reversing back to the baby. Okay, I have a torn ACL in basketball now. Before I used to dunk. No Desi can dunk. Okay, so we used to be, you can play, you can sit, and as you get older, I saw a picture one day, a man was pushing an old person on a wheelchair, and a father was pushing a baby on it in a stroller. And this old man is now being pushed in a wheelchair, but one day he was being pushed in a stroller. That's reality. That's faqir. We're faqir all our life. But sometimes we get confused, we think we're not. So Iqbal is saying, Tu ghani azhar du alam, man faqir. He makes a request. Roze mahshar uzr hay man pazir. O Prophet of Allah, O Allah, I ask you on the day of judgment, don't take my hisab. Let me slide through. If you ever cross a border I'm from Michigan, from Windsor to Detroit, and I cross the border like this all the time. They love me. So when you cross, they stop you, they ask you questions. Where are you from? Like, I'm from America. Okay, what passport? American. Where are you going back home? Do you have weapons? No. If I did, why would I tell you? All right, they ask you, do you have more than $10,000? I'm an imam, we're broke. Oh. All right. Like you answer these questions. The one that really offends me is, do you have marijuana? I'm like, bro, don't ask me that. Like, you can ask me the weapon question, you can ask me the money question, but don't ask me that question. I always tell them that. I said, if you see someone like me, don't ask them that question, it's offensive. Seriously. Okay, if they're satisfied with your answer, they let you go through. If they're not, they put an orange sticker on your windshield. Orange sticker for secondary clearance. Iqbal, he's saying, oh Allah, don't put an orange sticker on my windshield. Allahumma hasibni hisaban yasira. إنه من نوقش بالحساب فقد هلك أو عذب or عذب. Like a person who's stopped, Allah is going to question every second of your life, every penny you earned. Khalas, it's not going to work. So let me go through. But then he asked another request. He says, "Gartumi bini hisab abna guzir." He says, oh Allah, if you decide to do my hisab, la yus'al amma yaf'al. I cannot question you. You have the right to stop me. So if you decide to do my hisab, I know I'm not going to make it, but I have one request. As nigah Mustafa bin Hapagir, don't do it in front of the Prophet ﷺ. I don't want to disappoint him anymore. I don't want to hurt him. I did so much for my ummah, and they couldn't hold up their bargain. You know, I was talking to one reporter, very famous reporter in Gaza. I speak to him all the time. I asked him, you know his name, I'm not going to say his name. I asked him, what is the most difficult thing? Family members passed away. You know, his entire community, we know what's going on there. Allah give them nusra, inshallah. I mean, he told me, I don't have social media, so I had to find out what he means. Now I know what he means. He says the most difficult thing is people take my pictures and videos and put them on their Instagram story. And they say, pray for Palestine. And the next story, they're eating this big food on a table somewhere. Next story, they're sitting in a restaurant, music is playing. Next story, they're dancing in a wedding. Like, you could not even, for the moment of the story, let people just grieve over that. That you had to make it, you had to flip it so fast. He said, this bothers me so much. The appetite of people. He said, oh Allah, as nigah Mustafa bin Habagir, a person who has a bad report card doesn't want to show his parents. The Prophet we know he's rahmatul alameen, how much he loved us. We don't want to show the Prophet. He said, I don't want to show the Prophet this, but I have one more request. I never got to see the Prophet's face. I never got to hear his voice. MashaAllah, we're listening to Sheikh Saif's voice. Imagine listening to the Prophet's voice. We've never heard his voice. We've never seen his face. So he's saying, oh Allah, from a corner somewhere, at least show me his face. So I can at least see it. This is my only request I have from you. So this man did not have to say anything. But since he was asked to give advice and make it concise, he gave 3 advices. He said, number 1, أجمع اليأس مما في أيدي الناس. Don't expect anything from anyone. Don't expect anything from anyone. Husband from wife, wife from husband, parents from children, children from parents. Expectation always leads to lack of appreciation. Once you expect, you stop saying thank you. Wallah, I don't mind. Is this recorded? Oh. All right, I'll say it anyways. Nowadays, everything's recorded. My clothes, my wife, mashallah, may Allah bless her, she washes them and she irons them. I've never said thank you to her in my life. But that's not fard for her. She doesn't have to do that. But it became an expectation. My clothes are going to be ironed, my clothes are going to be hung up. You know the only time I talk to her about my clothes is when they're not ironed. I said, they're not ironed, what's wrong, everything okay? Because it's an expectation now. Children. Imam Abu Hanifa, rahmatullah alayhi, in his madhab, he says after a person is baligh, his parents do not have to feed him. They're not responsible. After the people. Why? Because it becomes, I come home, my mother has cooked so much, she's old, her hands have become dry. My mom's 68 years old. Your expectation is at iftar time, samosas, pakoras, this, that. So then the thank you doesn't come out. The appreciation, the hand kissing, the head kiss, the feet. Mom, thank you so much. You didn't have to do this for me. Because expectation leads to lack of appreciation. So if you have zero expectation, imagine how appreciative you become. No expectations. Anyone does anything, Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much. This is a beautiful advice. I can speak about that forever, but just keep that in mind. Your children who are sitting here, your parents, whatever they do for you is extra. Appreciate them. You're going to miss them when they're not here. Those who have lost our parents, may Allah give them Jannah al-Firdaus. This is our Jannah for us. People spend thousands of dollars to go to Umrah, to get to Rawdat al-Jannah. Our mother's feet are right next to us. That's Jannah for us. Don't be the person who's a sign of the Day of Judgment. The Prophet said, a sign of the Day of Judgment is a person is more open to speaking to his friends and has a problem speaking to his own father. أَدْنَا صَدِيقَهُ أَقْصَى أَبَاهُ. Our best friend should be our father. The second thing, he said, لا تتكلم بكلام تعتذر منه غدا. Don't say something today that you will regret tomorrow. You guys know what, I'm not going to give you an example of basketball. You know what a hesitation dribble is in basketball? Okay. In basketball, there's a dribble called hesitation dribble. You just hesitate before you make a move. He's saying, just hesitate before you say something. Don't just jump right into it. Because yes, apology is great, but restraint is greater. Whatever you're saying today, be careful. Be careful what you say. So don't say something today that you'll have to apologize for tomorrow. And I'll conclude. Finally, he says, وَإِذَا قُمْتَ إِلَى الصَّلَاةِ فَصَلِّ صَلَاةَ مُؤْدَى. He says, when you stand for salah, every salah, pray as if this is your last salah. Ibn Hajar Asqalani, he says, this is an example he gave. It's not for hasr, that this is the only thing. The Prophet is saying, anything you do in life, do it with this imagination that this is the last time you can do it. Look, all of you sitting in front of me today, I'm standing in front of you. Just for 1 second, imagine this is the last time you're going to see me. You won't pull your phone out. You will pay attention. It's going to be like me walking into a hospital room to visit a person with stage 4 cancer who the doctor has said only has a few hours left. My father's a cancer specialist. We have experienced this so much in our life. You have to call the family, listen, you only have a few hours left. How does the father, mother, friends come in the room? They know they'll never see this person alive again. They don't take their phones out. They read Quran, they use every second and they make it worth it. They immerse themselves in the moment. We take each moment for granted thinking we'll get another moment. He says, no, every time you talk to your wife, maybe this is the last time. During COVID, the most difficult people to comfort were those husband and wives who a wife just got into an argument with her husband went out somewhere, got into an accident, now the wife is regretting that the last moment she had with him was a bad moment. And now she's living with that suffering. Children whose father passed away, they're regretting, they're crying so much because I just got into a fight with my dad, then he passed away. If you make every moment as if this is the last time you'll see each other, I conclude with this. People say the first impression Is your last impression. Okay, I agree with that. But I have a better one. Your last impression is your lasting impression. When someone dies, you remember the last time you met them. That's what sticks in your head. My younger brother, Abdul Rahman, he was 22 years old. He passed away 3.5 years ago in a car accident. And I remember the last moments more than anything in my life. I was in my mother's house, leaving my mom's house, going to the front door. I forgot I walked in from the garage. He runs to the garage, picks up my slippers, runs to the front door, and places the slippers before my feet get there. I put my arm around him. I said, Abdul Rahim, thank you so much. That's the last time I saw him. Your last impression is your lasting impression. So, كل عمل كرهت الموت لأجله فتركه اليوم. Umar al-Khattabi says, any act that you would not wish to be doing when Malakul Maut comes to take your soul, stop it today. Because it could be something you're doing when you're dying. So the Prophet ﷺ said, make every moment, every encounter, when you meet me right now, when you're leaving, when you meet each other, when you speak to each other, make sure all the dust is settled. Because you never know you're going to meet again. And then you take it in, and then you will really appreciate it. You guys are a beautiful audience. May Allah bless you. Sorry for taking too long. I'm honored to be here. I'll just say one more thing. In 2013, I gave khutbah over here. I was 13 years old at that time. I gave khutbah over here in 2013. This is a real story, guys. At that time, we were thinking about purchasing a school building that was 100,000 square feet to make it into a world-renowned institution of knowledge where students can come become hafiz, alim, graduate from high school, and go on to become, if they want to become doctors, like my brother, he finished hifz, alim program, finished high school, and now he's becoming an orthopedic surgeon, third-year residency. This is the goal that we had in this institution. When I came to Raleigh in 2013, we said, let's just do fundraising for a few months, see if we collect the money, we'll buy the building, otherwise we'll lose $30,000 escrow. The first city I came to in the entire country was Raleigh. I gave a khutbah over here. I said, brothers, you know, we have this building. It's $800,000. It's a great deal, 100,000 square feet building on 11 acres of land. You guys want to support it? May Allah bless you all. Within 2 months, we collected all the money. We paid off this building. Now, 10, 11 years later, from this building, we've had more than hundreds of huffaz graduate. This is the first year we had a group of ulama graduate. 13 students who came in 2014, they stayed with us for 10 years, and they graduated this year as ulama. They finished high school with us, they finished hifz with us, and now this year they graduate as ulama, this 7-year program. This is our first batch that graduated from our seminary. The last 3 batches went overseas. Any of you sitting here today that was part of the 2013 fundraiser, may Allah bless you. Wallahi al-Azim, you don't even know where your sadaqah went. The fact that you put it over here. Today we've come back to you because now we have thousands of students at Miftah Institute. Of them we have 150 boarding students. These students live there, eat there, study there. I want first of all of you guys, if you have children, make intention to make them hafiz and alim. Say inshallah. This is the greatest thing you can do. Wallahi al-Azim. The second thing I'm saying is, among these students, we have many students who our fees is only $550. Boarding, sleeping, everything there for $550. We're going to be outside right now. What we usually do in Ramadan is we take scholarship funds from people's zakat. If you can sponsor a student, you know, $6,000 a year, you can sponsor 1 student, 2 students, do the monthly, however you can do it. I'll be outside. Wallahi, if you can participate in this amal, in this thawab, and students can become hafiz and alim. Maybe you're not going to have children or grandchildren who are hufaz, but you'll have hundreds of students who became hafiz and alim there. They'll be in your mizan hasana. So I encourage all of you will be outside after 8 rakats, 20 rakats. Please do support this institution that this community supported in 2013 when I was 13 years old. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu Alaykum wa rahmatullahi.